Hello, I am Joshua Bell McNee, and today I will be delving into the short documentary E-Wasteland by David Fidel. To begin with, I will give a quick summary of the film before investigating Fidel's use of the observational mode, the particular content that is explored within this mode, and finally how these elements influenced Fidel's stylistic choices. E-Wasteland explores the issue of electronic waste, which arrives every day in Ghana from developed countries all over the world. Being the world's second largest graveyard for electronic waste, Ghana receives an approximated 200,000 tonnes of e-waste every single year. The film itself was undoubtedly made and constructed in an observational documentary mode. On the surface, this means that the filmmaker has at least appeared to use the camera as a method of capturing the life of others unobtrusively and with spontaneity. This trait is obvious in the case of E-Wasteland, as the camera truly does act as a fly on the wall, witnessing events that would transpire similarly on any other day in the life of these social actors. The substantial content explored in the film is the cycle of how this waste arrives, how the people break it down in order to make a living for themselves, and where this salvaged and recycled waste is then sent. To expand on this, it is important to note that Ghana's current predicament is a vicious cycle. To begin with, many of the poorer and undereducated people in Ghana travel to the capital, Accra, because the local farming industry is struggling and there are few other opportunities. There they salvage the metals from the e-waste and burn or dump the leftover plastic and other materials. This leaves toxic chemicals in the air and creates constant state of darkness, polluted cloud cover. The salvaged items are then sent back to the developed world, used until useless, and then finally exported again illegally as second-hand goods. Looking now back at the mode and delivery, the facts, statistics, and information that is needed for the audience to be able to contextualize what they're seeing, what they're observing, is delivered through superimposed text at the beginning and the end of the film. This alone lends itself to the observational style, as Fidel here steers away from, for instance, interviewing the subjects. Instead, he gives the viewers written information and then simply observes the workers in their day-to-day life. Bill Nichols discusses some of the traits of observational mode as being no voiceover commentary, no supplementary music or sound effects, no intertitles, no historical reenactments, no behaviour repeated for the camera, and not even any interviews. These are all true in the case of E-Wasteland. True to the observational mode, the content is delivered through the social actors ignoring the camera, as they are dealing with issues of their own. In a way, this draws attention away from the presence of the filmmaker, allowing the viewer to come to their own conclusion based on what they see and hear. Drawing on a couple of examples from E-Wasteland, at one moment we see a man burning the interior foam of a fridge. He struggles to reposition the item so it will burn more efficiently and speed up the process. In another instance, we witness a derelict image of a man resting in the shade of a fridge shell surrounded by junk. If these two very real moments were, for example, portrayed through a participatory mode, interviewing the social actors and occasionally cutting to a clip showing their daily routine, the intense nature of the lifestyle would not have been as effectively portrayed. Fidel's impartial, observatory delivery reveals an unbiased look into the world of this issue, and in turn fulfills Fidel's aim of making us think more deeply about what happens to our old electronics. Of the differing types of documentary, the observational has been a source of particular ethical difficulties. As David said himself, many people didn't want me to film them, as they were ashamed of the work they did and the conditions that they lived in. Because David went in with a specific goal, approaching the project with no crew and few comforts, and acquiring permission from all those who he filmed, he was somewhat able to circumvent the ethical considerations that involve the act of a first-world person observing the life of a person less fortunate. Stylistically, David approached this content in a manner which showed the graphic nature of the circumstances in its rawest form. Firstly, he only uses handheld shots and doesn't move the camera much except to keep up with the social actors. The shots taken are also very lengthy, allowing the viewer time to absorb the terrifying nature of having to live in the way that many of these Ghanaians do. On top of this, similar images are often revisited on multiple occasions. For example, Fidel shows the burning of plastics and chemicals many times. This repetition confronts the audience and hits home the graphic nature of having to live in these situations. Fidel also steers away from using music, sound, or lighting to manipulate the audience's viewing. On a final note, Fidel shot and edited the film to include shots which most effectively represented the hardship that is being experienced by these workers. In one instance, we see a man who is dismantling e-waste. Instead of giving a wide shot or a mid shot, he actually uses a close-up shot showing the sweat running down his face. Many of the shots throughout are presented in a similar fashion, highlighting the extreme hardship of the people and the overwhelming dilapidated landscape. In summary, the choice of the observational mode mixed with the content and stylistic decisions most effectively aided Fidel's intention to make people from the developed world consider how their consumption of electronics can affect the environment and the lives of people in less developed countries. Thank you very much.